The Sammy Atomiswave. There are likely many of you out there that have no clue just what the hell this is. In 2002, Sammy Corp needed a new arcade board that could do both 2D and 3D games, but development of custom hardware had become too expensive to be profitable. They turned to Sega's inexpensive Dreamcast architecture and repurposed it as their brand new arcade platform. It used cartridges and was JAMMA compatible. While Sammy intended to use it for their own games, they also got third parties like SNK, Sims, and IGS working on stuff, leading to a total of close to 30 games for the platform. A handful of these were ported to home systems like the PlayStation 2, but others remain locked away, never to be heard from again. Perhaps the most infuriating part is that even though the Atomiswave was based on the technology that powered the Dreamcast, that system would not see a single home version thanks to Sega pulling the plug on it a few years prior. That is until now. Homebrew warrior Megavolt85 has seemingly cracked the mystery of getting Atomiswave software running on a vanilla retail Dreamcast. This is a major cause of celebration, not only because this isn't emulation, but it also has the potential for us to add dozens of new games to our Dreamcast libraries. In this episode, I take a look at 6 of the Atomiswave games you can play on your Sega Dreamcast today. First appearing in early 2006 for the Atomiswave, Metal Slug 6 was developed by Noise Factory and published by Sega. It continues the epic battles from the first 5 games, putting focus back on the alien aspects of the story. Most of the sprite work and animation you see here is very similar to the classic Neo Geo style, but the background art has been altered quite a bit with a softer and less detailed feel. I can't say I'm a big fan of it, but the gameplay itself is just as fun as ever. If you're a vet of the Neo Geo games, you'll jump right into this one with little instruction needed. Pretty much all you need to know is that you have multiple heroes to choose from, each with their own characteristics and special moves. There is also a new easy and hard mode. Easy mode gives you the machine gun as your default weapon, but doesn't allow you to finish the entire game. Along with an arcade game of this type comes the arcade difficulty. And oh my god, is this game hard. There are moments where the game stops and just throws everything at you at once, and until you learn how to handle it, expect to die a lot, particularly on the crazy long boss encounters. Outside of that, it's Metal Slug. You'll run, jump, and mow down your enemies until you're the last man standing. Well, that is, unless you have a buddy with you in the 2-player mode. The move to the Dreamcast doesn't seem to have done much to the original code. It looks and runs great. I did have a problem with the game crashing, but I changed my SD card in my Terra Onion mode, and it took care of that. I highly recommend this one if you are a fan of running guns, or just want to give the Dreamcast a good 2D workout. There certainly wasn't a lot like this one on the platform at retail.
Heavy machine gun.
In 2003, Taiwanese software developer International Game System, often shortened to just IGS, released Knights of Valor: The Seven Spirits for the Atomiswave. This time they decided to utilize both the sprite and polygon power of the Atomiswave and make it a 2.5D beat-em-up that looks like all of Capcom's work got jumbled up into one game. That's a compliment because this is a very satisfying entry into the long-standing genre. Lots of cool backgrounds, vicious combos, great special attacks, and of course multiplayer all round out this excellent playing title. I have messed around with a number of these games on MAME over the years, but had not played this one specifically, meaning that this is a Dreamcast game I've never actually played before. That's a beautiful thing in and of itself, and after a few hours with it, I can definitely say it's worth a look. You get a bunch of different characters to choose from, with different fighting styles, a fully English story, multiple paths to take, and ultimately, a game that is quite unique for the platform. The visuals are impressive as well. The enemies are extremely well animated, it's super colorful, and I really like how the polygon backdrops play out. Sometimes they're there for eye candy, other times they play out a scene such as sinking ships. The pure 2D of the originals are worth looking at on MAME, and this is a welcome addition to the Dreamcast library. In late 2006, the SNK Playmore continuation of the King of Fighters series made its debut with Part 11 of the much-loved franchise. It doesn't change a ton from King of Fighters 2003 aside from adding some neat technical moves regarding tag combos and saving a teammate that is taking heavy damage from a combo themselves. It still plays very familiar with a ton of special moves, super combos, and ludicrously difficult boss encounters. I like this game, but it does have some things about it I didn't appreciate much. First, the visuals here are just okay. The King of Fighters engine by this point needed some spit and polish to bring it up to speed, but these fighters are a bit blurry. The backgrounds do look good, however, and the soundtrack is very solid overall. The roster has seen some major omissions from past games in the series, leading me to miss favorites like Mai and Joe from Fatal Fury. This gameplay is killer, however, and up there with some of the better fighting games at the time. It's lightning fast, has a ton of different styles to master, and it's actually not balanced badly for so many fighters. I do hate some of the overpowered enemies you face during the story. I mean, some of these fights are just pure frustration until you learn what you need to do to pick apart the otherwise ludicrous difficulty. If SNK had put a bit more effort into the visuals, man, this could have been something special. Even so, with it being playable on the Dreamcast now, it's just one more fighting game to add to an already stellar library. SNK also released the 2005 continuation of its venerable franchise Samurai Shodown 6 for the Atomiswave. This features a ton of fighters, roughly 45 in all from the various entries into the Shodown series. It also has different final bosses depending on who you choose. Unlike King of Fighters 11, this also has razor-sharp sprites and backgrounds, each beautifully animated. The stages mostly feature 2D art, but there are some polygon elements that add depth to some of them. It uses a spirit system that allows you to choose what your button presses do and how you want to play it. Most of these resemble the systems in previous games. You'll want to experiment with them to see which is better suited to each fighter and your own style of play. The massive roster of fighters gives you a tremendous amount of variety, from lumbering giants that do crazy damage to small and fast choices that can whittle your life bar down to nothing in seconds. You have the usual assortment of special moves and supers for each fighter, but the blood and violence of past entries has been toned way down. You can no longer chop your opponent in half or get the bloody spray fatality, for instance. Despite diehards being upset about that and changes to the voice actors, this is still one of my favorite entries into the Shodown series of games. I love the way it looks, the roster is killer, and the different spirit selections add a ton of different options to the gameplay. It may lack the traditional violence and voices from the past, but otherwise it's got everything you could want in a great fighting game. In 2004, Sammy released the oddly named Faster Than Speed for the Atomiswave, a versus racer where you can face off against an AI opponent or another person. It's one of the few arcade games of its type that allows alternating play where you race for best times. The best way to describe this is to take equal parts Need for Speed Underground and San Francisco Rush and mix them together into a nighttime city racer with traffic, nitro boost, jumps, and blinged out hot rods. The gameplay and setup is ultra simple. You are in a race against another car to get from point A to point B first. You build up your nitro boost by keeping your speed up, and you can use it multiple times during the race. The tracks are set up in a nighttime city and can be in sewers and the subways as well. The visuals aren't anything overly impressive, but they do have a great sense of speed, though I don't care for the effect the nitro gives you. It's disorienting to say the least, and makes it difficult to see tight turns and traffic, something that can break you in the harder courses. Because this is an Atomiswave game that has been made to work on the Dreamcast, you lose the ability to play head-to-head multiplayer, and instead are restricted to single player versus the computer and alternating time attack modes for you and your friends. While this isn't top shelf stuff, the simple arcade gameplay is fun and easy to play, making it something that fans of that style of content should enjoy. While it's short on modes and additional options, you should be able to find a few minutes of fun here every now and then. It's not for you sim guys, but if you enjoyed the speed and crazy jumps of Midway's old racing titles, this one should be a good time. In July of 2005, SNK Playmore released Neo Geo Battle Coliseum for the Atomiswave. I actually don't have a lot of experience with this game before firing it up on my Dreamcast here, so this one is as new to me as it may be to some of you. In some ways it feels a bit like the King of Fighters, with an expanded roster that includes characters from other SNK related franchises like Samurai Showdown, Metal Slug, and The Last Blade. The single player setup is really strange, sort of like you are thrown to the wolves and must simply survive an onslaught of enemies while a countdown timer is running. The story, or at least what's presented in the game itself, makes little sense, and the graphics again suffer the blurry low-res assets of past games against 480p backdrops. It gives the game a rough presentation that will be exacerbated by high-definition displays. The core gameplay here is incredibly durable, however. It isn't all that dissimilar to some of SNK's other games, and I can definitely see why some love it. Being new to it, I still have a lot to learn about its systems and how each fighter stacks up against one another. Now that it's easily accessible on my Dreamcast, I may give it a go again since I've never owned it on the PlayStation 2 or any of its more modern equivalents. It's definitely an eclectic game that stands apart from the usual stuff we saw at the time.
No escape! Fight!
So, we just went over what is essentially 6 new games for your Sega Dreamcast. Since some of these were quite limited in their distribution outside of Japanese arcades, you likely have only played them via emulation or some port to another console. That makes these releases a must-have for Dreamcast fans wanting to see them in all of their original glory. The versions I just showed you also appear to have free play set, so you can play it all you want without fear of running out of credits. I was thoroughly impressed with the loading times in all of them. They are fast and don't get in the way at all. Whatever work had to be done to get them running on the Dreamcast, I tip my hat to the people involved. You got these games to run as if they were a retail release, complete with an attract mode and no complicated interface that needs to be set up. All I needed to do was download the folder and drop it on my Terra Onion mode and play them. It's that simple. As completely awesome as it is to get these games, it's even more exciting to think about the other possibilities. There are more Atomiswave games just begging for this treatment, and I really hope they are able to be transferred over the same as these. The homebrew community continues to impress me with their incredible dedication and work to keep these old machines going. If you are a Dreamcast fan and still play yours today, you need to look at the description of this video, download the games, and enjoy 6 additional titles that I personally never thought we'd see on it. I'm not so sure you can call these ports since the Dreamcast is running the original code, but whatever the heck you want to label them, I sure am glad they're here. I'm Sega Lord X, thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you next time.